All right, man. I got a good one to share with people, but I guess I can kick it off with how's your working out going?
Funny you should mention that. And the the topic at hand today is perfect. It's been terrible, Pat. We've been busy on the home front. I had some life situations come at us pretty hard the last couple weeks. They're starting to resolve, which is good. But man, I tell you, I haven't worked out in like 3 weeks. Which you and I were chatting a little bit before the show started, and I bet you it's been since I was a teenager, like legitimately 15, 16 years old, that it's been that long between workout sessions. Uh,
Interesting. Well,
so
it'll be interesting if you know yourself so well, your numbers, your times, your loads, and all that stuff. That when you do
yeah,
come back, how does it feel after 3 weeks? And that'll be useful data as well. But I agree with you. I think if going a few weeks, I always think back in like my high school days.
yeah. Well, and I'm trying not to get too in my head about it. It's easy to get down on yourself when things like this kind of fall in your way. But on the other hand, it's like, isn't that why you train? You train so that you got enough buffer that when chips are down, sometimes it's okay. It's not the
You
end of the world. And
you do, and it's funny because I often think about, that you are one of those people that I despise. As much as I enjoy your company, you've got the lean genetics.
Mm.
Like if you stop moving, you like lose weight. Like the Italian heritage. I stop moving, I start looking like a loaf of bread.
Mm.
More every day that goes by, just doughy and soft, and
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I just get stringy and scrawny. I don't know that that's much better. So pick your poison. There's no
uh,
utopia, Pat.
the topic we're going to chat about is consistency in workouts and whatnot. So we'll dive into that in a second. But of course, the housekeeping
Yeah.
first. Everybody out there, of course, we appreciate you. Help making the show as cool as it is. If you want to help support the show, go to verynotrandom.com. Check out the cycles that we offer. There's on ramp programs, on ramp for barbell, dumbbell, body weight. There's a whole bunch of things lumped under the category of get your first. Strict pull up, kipping bar muscle up, strict ring muscle up, push up, ring dip, handstand push up, toes bar, all kinds of cool stuff there. Handstand walk. There's a bunch of barbell capacity programs. There's stuff for just engine, the 1.5 mile run program. We've got a run, bike, row program that's 12 weeks long, and you can choose whatever you want running, biking, or rowing, or mix it all up. So check those out. And then if you're a gym owner, all the stuff you need to take care of to run your business, workout tracking for your clients, gym management and billing. That's any sort of fitness facility. It doesn't have to be a CrossFit gym in the world. Go to btwb.com and check out their all in one. And so before we dive into the question today, I'll share a dirty workout that I did on Monday. And it's like,
This is probably not going to be enticing me to get back into it. You know
no,
what I
it
mean? This is
won't. And it's one of those, it's one of those ones, if you've been around longer than 5 minutes, you're like, yeah, that sounds terrible.
yeah.
But any workout can be terrible if you decide to go for it on that day. And so
Mm.
this workout not only lended itself well to that, but it was Monday. I slept well. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put myself in the hurt locker today. Like I'm just gonna dance with the devil. And it was with the Fran loading on the barbell, 21, 15, 9, thruster, calories on the air bike.
Oh, come on. That's just bad all the way around.
And
Why would
starting
you
with
do
the
that to
thruster, you get
yourself?
that set of 21 off, and then
Ugh.
you're just, oh, dude, and it was, it's funny. That bike chews me up and spits me out. It's just
Yeah.
I don't make money. I'm not a bad runner. I don't make money on the rower, and I don't make money on the bike. And so for me, I
Hmm.
was like, man, I had this goal, and then I realized that's not me. I was like, if I can, I was like, I'm gonna go for it on the bike. I'm like, no, no. If I actually keep the bike anywhere above 60 RPMs, I don't care if it's 61, and I hold on, I think that's about all I had. And in the first 21, I was like, this hurts, but maybe I shortchanged myself. And then of course by the end, it was an all-encompassing effort to hold
No,
60. It was terrible.
absolutely. That set of 15, moving to that, like coming off of the bike, doing 15 thrusters, coming off the bike at 15 cows, and then moving to that 9 thrusters has got to be the worst. I mean, that's
The
just
15 thrusters were not
awful.
unbroken, my friend, nor were the
Yeah, yeah.
nine. I told
I believe
myself,
it.
I was like, don't be an unbroken hero. Like keep yourself uncomfortable on the bike. And if I do the thrusters unbroken, I didn't pedal hard enough. And
Yep.
so anyway,
Fair.
enjoyed that everybody. But here's the
Just
question today. Um, Where is it? Let me scroll here. Sorry, I got something out here. This is from Chris H. Says, I've been thinking about the pathway to becoming a consistent CrossFitter. Are there any lessons that we can learn from people who stick with it? Maybe hacks to build consistency.
Mm. Well,
And
I love
so
it and
here we
hate
are.
it. I
The
hate hacks.
timing.
Well, the timing's amazing, actually, just given my inconsistency lately on a personal level. But it actually kind of spurred me creatively to think about, okay, maybe I'll invert the question and talk about what would be the things that you could do to basically guarantee that you will be inconsistent.
Oh,
And
interesting.
and based on
Okay.
that, it's like, okay, well, if I can avoid these things, I'm probably in the clear. You know what I mean? It's funny because I was having this conversation actually recently with somebody who's just kind of getting into fitness and nutrition, and they pointed out, as everybody does when they start getting far enough along in this stuff, they're like, man, there's so many possible inputs and so many people that sound like they know what they're talking about. How do I kind of cut through the noise? And I said,
Mm,
well, one useful strategy that I've always kind of fallen back to is if you can find people with disparate philosophies that agree on something, there might be something to that. So for example, you take any nutrition protocol on earth and you say, hey, do you think it's a good idea for me to base my diet primarily around cookie and candy and added sugar? They're going to look at you like, what are you talking about? Okay, well, maybe that's a great foundational habit that I can take and apply. And if everybody, regardless of their philosophy on top of that, seems to think that's a pretty good idea, well, that should be a bedrock behavior right there. So let's see if we can kind of identify some of those really bad ones, and instead of providing the hack, at least that's the
that's
approach I'm
good.
going to take.
Yeah,
Hey,
we might hit both.
just avoid this. Yeah.
And I bet it's two sides of the same coin. I got a
Yep.
small handful of things. There's only like five
Same.
bullet points that I wrote down, and agreed. The hold on a second. This lends itself today. My little girl is calling for me.
Mm.
Hold on one sec. I'll just have them edit this out. But for
Yeah.
everyone at home,
Sounds
this
good.
is part of it. Like life was chaotic today, so hold on one second. Okay, so yeah, so for everyone there, if it's a little glitch or whatnot, I just had to take off because I've got a sick 4-year-old at home, which made my workout consistency challenging today, but that works in today, so it's all
Mhm.
good. But like I was going to say, I've got about 5 things. They're probably the other sides of the coin that you have, and some of them actually contradict each other,
Mm.
which is because as long as you as long as it leads to success, it's the right cue, right? Like you might give
Mhm.
one athlete a cue to open their hips, and the other one you tell them something wildly different, but it gets their darn hips to open. You're like, okay, cool. That wouldn't have worked with the other person, but we achieved the outcome that we want. And so if some of them seem to be at odds, if it gets you to the finish line, that's cool. Because one of them is I say, that maybe you should care about something a lot, and the other one is maybe you should care less. Like those are two very opposite things, but they might work. So the first one I had is
Depends on how much you care currently.
yes, yes. No matter what you do, if you show up, you win. I
Mm.
mean, I don't care if it's not to get philosophical, like life, business, relationships, being a parent, getting better at basketball, getting more consistent training. Like so many people quit, quite frankly, or just give up. That if you actually just keep showing the hell up, you're already beating 80% of the people that started, like in all
Mhm.
honesty. So, number one, we're not mentioning perfection, or we're not mentioning this many times per week. We're not mentioning anything. If you just generally keep showing up, you are setting yourself on a really good path that most people have already fallen off of. So, even though
I
that's
love that
vague, that's
one.
the first thing I'm going to say.
No, I love it, and it echoes something that I've heard a lot in the jujitsu community. In that world, it takes a long time to go from white belt, which is your starter belt, obviously, to black belt. It's not uncommon that like 10 years through that progression is pretty quick. Do you know
Oh,
what I mean?
okay.
So it's a pretty long-term thing. And a lot of people that are at that high level black belt, you hear it said in various ways. It's not about who's best, it's who's left. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that translates to a lot of areas of life. So yeah, dude, I love that.
Just don't
Uh,
quit. Don't be a filthy quitter.
have some integrity. Come on. Uh,
People need some hard truths in
that's right.
2025.
Totally.
Got to
Okay,
be
well,
in it to win it.
I'll offer my first anti-advice then.
Okay.
And this is through the lens of, hey, what would kind of set you up for not showing up? not just getting there day after day. And one of the most powerful things I think that could lead you astray is to just make sure that all of the important things in your life, you put those at the very end of the day. Make sure that if it's important to you, it's the last thing you do before you go to bed. Prioritize everything else as
Hmm.
chronologically throughout the day. I found that personally, when I go through periods of time where I'm not as disciplined with my schedule and some of the more important things, whether it's working out or anything else, and I get in the habit of like, well, I'm pretty consistent with that generally, therefore I can kind of not think about it and push it off to the end of the day. Guess what? It doesn't happen.
Right.
Doesn't seem
Amen to
like
that.
rocket surgery, but it's something that can creep in, especially if you are pretty consistent with these certain areas of your life and you start to take them for granted. That's what I found is like, well, I'll do it later because I know I'll get to it. And then surprise, you don't.
Oh, I'll
So,
have time later. No, you won't.
exactly. Yep.
And these are out of order, but I'll skip to it because it's the opposite end of what you just said there. So I just put, put it on the books, make it a priority was one of them.
Mhm.
And so another way to say that would be, if a routine is the sort of, if you crave that sort of structure and it helps you, you're that sort of person, got to make it a priority, put it on the books, put it on your phone, under your calendar, whatever it is, like make it part of your daily schedule. If at this time you get up, this time you go to work, this time you, whatever it happens to be, schedule it in there. And so you get a little alert, you get a little reminder, just like you would show up for a Zoom call for work or whatever it is, and you would make that happen because you've decided to make it a priority as part of your schedule and routine. That's a good thing. And then if you start to get it in there and you do it on a regular basis, well, then you're building a routine. And if you start to build a routine, you might be making it consistent. And then all of a sudden you're exactly achieving the goal that you want. So, okay, to have
I'll
that. So
also
there's
say
the
too,
opposite end.
just to, if we're talking kind of life lessons here, I'll also say, coming from somebody that like I love when I have some time to waste, that I can just waste it. It's the best feeling ever. But it's a fundamentally different experience when you're wasting time at the beginning of your day and you know that you're kind of putting off these things. It's not really enjoyable because you're just
Mm-mm.
kind of like, oh man, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. But
Yes.
if you put those important things first, you get through them and you're like, oh man, I did what I said I was going to do today. And you have a little bit of time at the end of the day, dude, it's the best thing ever because you've earned it at that point. So,
100%. Do you
um,
want to hit a different one of
I
your
do, yeah.
Anti
Okay, so
goals?
this is one of my other anti advices here. One of the best ones: litter your environment with things that you don't want to partake in. So, for
Mm.
example, you're having trouble getting on track with your diet. Best thing to do: keep a ton of cookies and candies readily
Oh,
accessible. Keep
goodness,
them in your
man.
desk drawer. Keep them in the fridge. Keep them in your car.
Everywhere.
It's a winning strategy right there.
Everywhere.
Uh, and the same can be applied to anything fitness related. You know, you want to get fitter? Hey, make sure the gym is a long way from your house. Make sure that you don't have any sort of equipment at home or there's no
Man.
idea in your head about what you could do if you couldn't make it to the gym that day. Just make
Mm-hmm.
sure that stuff is really outside of your immediate environment. That's a great strategy for
That way you've got an easy
inconsistency.
excuse, right? The gym's so far away,
Yep.
traffic's backed up. Saw it on the news as an accident. It's going to take me forever to get there. Stash that pair of dumbbells in the
Mm.
corner, the kettlebell in the corner, whatever it is, like exactly, like make it easy for yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
Establish a couple of favorite body weight workouts or movements
well,
that you like to do.
this might be, maybe I'll rearrange this one now that you said that, because one of the things I had as well is here, which is I put down, you have the time.
Mm.
You do. I
Yep.
guarantee there's somebody living a very similar life to you that is making it happen. Like, most likely, there's one other human being that somehow has done it. And that time might be 20 minutes. Like, okay, you'd love to have an hour. Great. Maybe sometimes you'll get that hour, but you've only got 20 minutes. You can do death by burpees. I don't think you'll make it to 20. You can do if you've got that pair of dumbbells, death by thruster. I don't think you'll make it to 20, and there's a
Mm.
built-in warm-up. You can do 3 casual rounds of a 400-meter run and 3 rounds of Cindy. Like, you can do that if you get 20 minutes, and you can do, a lot of us could do that by just taking off on the 400-meter run. And that first round of Cindy, each round of squats gets a little deeper. That's okay.
Mhm.
Because, like, what was the other choice was you weren't going to do anything today. And
Yep.
so I'll take the first round of squats being above parallel and the last two being below parallel. I think you're still winning right there. Like, so there are things
Yeah.
that you can do. Again, exactly. The gym's far. I don't have, Have some things in your hip pocket, in your back pocket, dumbbells, kettlebell, or things you don't need any gear whatsoever. Keep them on your phone or scratch them somewhere so that when you all of a sudden your schedule blows up, you don't have to think. You can shut your brain off and you know to open the little app on your phone. These are the three things I scratched down.
Mhm.
Dang it, here comes death by burpees. Cool.
Yeah, I love it. I will dovetail my next one a little out of order as well to feed into yours. My next anti-advice is to develop the mindset that your program is super delicate and can
Yes.
only yield results if it is perfectly applied. Remember, you cannot see any progress unless you execute exactly what you had planned for that day in exactly the order it was written and with exactly the rep scheme and loads that were prescribed. There's no other path to victory.
It's the
Recall
only
that.
thing that works. It's the only
That's
thing that
right.
works. I'll rearrange mine based upon that, which was, things I've said before, like make it a routine. It's said in the books. These would be things, this would imply that you care, right? You're making it a priority in your life. You care. Well, now my other goal is for consistency. Caring less every now and then is useful. So what I mean by that is the perfect is the enemy of the good. Well, I can't get in the perfect workout, therefore I'll get in nothing. It's all or nothing. That doesn't make any sense. I can't get in the exact workout I'm supposed to do. Don't worry about that. Again, care less, get something in. Like, yes, optimally, if you're following a plan that appears to be rationally thought out, you'll stick to it as frequently as you can. But when life throws that monkey wrench at you, adapt and overcome. Do whatever you got to do that day to just get on the fitness train and not the sedentary train. I will give you the example of my workout today, which I did the workout, but it didn't go anywhere near as well as I'd hoped. So today's workout was every minute on the minute for 30 minutes, one hang power clean. Now, if I'd had time for a proper warm up, I probably would have used 4 and a quarter on the bar, for those hang power cleans, but since I now had to be like, yeah, obviously people know me.
Yeah.
That's it. No one's called, hey, Pat, that explosive athlete. No one's ever said that. My daughter caught some sort of a cold at daycare. She's coughing all night long. So she didn't sleep. So I didn't sleep. I'm probably about to get sick. She didn't go to daycare today. So my day has just, a hand grenade has rolled into my day. Productivity is out the window, disruption is high. So we went out into the garage. I had to take her out there with me because my wife was doing something. And just with a 4-year-old running around causing chaos, the warm up, which I would have loved to done to see how my hang power cleans really would have gone to, that didn't really happen. It was super rushed. I would have wanted to do like these hip and back extensions. I wanted to get my front rack position a lot better. I wanted to wake up my hamstrings a bit. None of that happened. I just kind of grabbed the bar and just went, oh, that feels heavy and that front rack feels tight. And over the course of 30 minutes, built up a load quicker than I should have. Somehow kept it every minute on the minute, but with constant distractions of we're switching from the Frozen soundtrack to the Moana soundtrack to other soundtracks that aren't really optimal for me to maximize my lift. She got into something on the shelf. She found an Easter basket from last year with all like the
Oh,
fake
nice.
straw in there. That was then littered all over in the garage. I opened up the garage door. She wanted to play with something. It started to downpour rain outside. The wind kicked all the straw out into the wet driveway, so it was paste and stuck there. She went out there. It was just like literally a disaster. And sometimes I stayed on the minute. Sometimes I didn't stay on the minute. Sometimes I did 2 rushed reps. Sometimes I got 2 minutes of rest. But by the end of it, relative to how I feel and how I slept, I got in 30 challenging hang power cleans. There was no cool down. There was no stretching. There was just me put the plates away, and I came back in to get her some lunch and have her take hopefully a nap, which she's already interrupted us once with this podcast. Like
I love it.
that's
Yeah.
not how I wanted my workout to go today. And I think I probably could have lifted a little heavier if it wasn't under those conditions right there. Who cares? Like, that's my care less thing. What I care about is that I got in something today that approximated what I wanted to do to the best of my ability, given the constraints that I had to deal with in real life. And if I had this thing in my mindset of, I've got to do exactly this warm up, I've got to do exactly these things, it's got to be optimal. And if not, it's a wasted workout, that would have been no good. So every now and then, caring less and just making it happen will keep you consistent.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. I'll keep my anti-advice coming. So it's kind of this. It is kind of fun how these weave in with each
They
other so
dovetail,
so
yeah.
nicely. Yeah. So my last anti-advice was make sure that it's really important to you that everything's flawless. And then
Exactly.
in the event that things do change, make sure you prioritize all the small stuff. So when your time gets tight, when life comes at you hard, it's way more important to sit there stretching your calves than it is to, get a couple of 30 reps in, like you're saying, Pat. So that'd be
100%,
my
man.
anti-advice there is just, the small
100%.
stuff is what should be the focus when stuff goes haywire.
um, I've just got a couple. How many did you say you have left?
That's pretty much it. I've only got
Okay,
one
okay,
more, and it
okay,
kind of ties everything together.
okay.
Um,
Ties the whole room together.
yeah, it really does.
Okay, let's see. So I've got a few more, but they're very short. I just also said if you're the sort of person that this, again, some of these are opposites. If you're the sort of person that this works well, like set clear goals. And meaning, here's a vague goal. I'm going to start working out. Here's a clear goal. I'm going to train 3 times a week for 45 minutes each time.
Yep.
And now you've got something to shoot for, a metric by which to judge yourself off of. Now, each one
And
of those days might not be perfect, like I just said, but if you're the sort of person that structure you find useful, then implementing some clear goals might be good for you. But like I said, also at the
I
same
just want to,
time, you can't fall in love with the plan.
yeah, I just want to point out there too that it's really important, clear goals. Yes. What's interesting about that one that you put out there is not only is it clear and gives you a path to success, it's not predicated by the outcome of those sessions. It's not
Mm,
3 workouts and I have to PR each time, or three
right,
workouts and I
right.
have to, whatever. It's I'm in the gym 3 times. You can do it. You can be successful. Even if those days were a challenge and you felt kind of junky and you didn't perform as well as you wanted to, you can still win. So,
100%.
yep.
100%. I've got, was that one of yours?
No, no, no. I just think it's really important when we're talking about goals and like you said, that quality of goal that it's pointed out that, it's a metric, it's objective, but it still doesn't hinge on you being absolutely successful within the workout, if that makes sense.
And again,
Really
depending
important.
upon the sort of person that you are, you could, if this worked for you, structure, like I just said, those clear goals. Or if that's overwhelming, you could set clear goals that build over time. So maybe
Hmm.
you could say on week one, it's uh, twice a week, 20 minutes. On week two, it's 3 times a week, 20 minutes. On week four, 3 times a week, 30 minutes, and build towards 3 times a
Yep.
week, 45 minutes, and lay it out. So start small and build up. That way you don't particularly overwhelm yourself.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, my last and maybe most powerful anti-advice is really only act when you feel like it.
Oh, dude,
Just,
I got the same thing written different.
just make sure that you're absolutely 100% motivated and that everything feels exactly the way it should before you take action. That's really critical and will definitely lead you down the path of success.
You know, this is, I don't know if it's a cliche saying these days, or who can be attributed with it. I don't know if it's like, a Jocko Willing thing or whatnot, like as a team guy, I try to not quote other team guys, but like it's a whole like, embrace discipline over motivation. But like the crux of that, I very much agree with, and
Sure.
meaning
Yeah.
that motivation is fleeting. If I only ate well when I was motivated, or, fill in the blank, studied when I felt like it, or showed up to work when it looked like something fun, or like, whatever, when only motivation was high, I did the task, most of us would have a pretty low batting average. And so, what's more
Mhm.
important than that is just through hopefully these tips, tricks, whatever you want to call it, principles of making these things just a part of your life, and then you become the sort of human being that executes the plan, generally speaking, regardless. Now, if you've got pneumonia, let's have some common sense, people. But generally speaking, you've got the discipline to be like, it doesn't matter that my garage is cold today. I'm going to go work out. It doesn't matter that I've got 30 minutes instead of 60 minutes. I'm going to go work out. It doesn't matter that that chocolate cake is talking to me from the other room. I know that based upon the last week where I ate like hamburglar, what I actually need to do today is eat a little bit better. Like whatever it is, like have the discipline to execute the plan, because I mean, if you only flossed your teeth when it was fun, you probably would never floss your teeth. So just make sure
Mhm.
that you're executing, and motivation is a fleeting friend, and it may not be there when you need it.
Yeah, and I'll flip the script on my bad advice and just kind of piggyback on your good advice there. So this is me back in reality now, speaking to you as what I would hope you would do. I'll take a bit of a softer approach on that too. Like I agree. Like fundamentally, yeah, you got to be able to willing. You got to be willing to step up to the plate even when you don't feel like it. I also think that a lot of times that translates into this like I just do it no matter what, and I brush off all these other real factors in my life. I think that's ridiculous too. But what I will say, as maybe a softer approach to that same piece of advice, is that you're never going to be fully ready for anything in your life. And if you're waiting until you are, it's never going to happen. And so just accept the fact that it's like whether it's working out this morning at 7 o'clock, or it's going and like interviewing for a new position somewhere, or it's asking out that woman that you kind of had your eye on or whatever, like you're never going to feel ready. And so you have to just accept that. And to me, I've always found that if I can remember it in the moment, that to me is much more powerful of a motivator personally than like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a disciplined, hyper, consistent person, because I know I'm not. That's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But if that reminder of like, oh yeah, I'm never going to feel ready, but that's okay. It's way easier
Correct.
to get into that mindset of taking action.
100%. Yep. 100%. So, all right. Well, hopefully that helps get everybody more consistent working out. More consistency is a good thing, man. Consistency
Yep.
trumps a whole lot. If you're just scattered, working out, don't working out, don't working out, don't. That's not probably the path you want to be on, generally speaking. So hopefully this helps. Appreciate the question. If you've got more thoughts, ideas, guests, input, thoughts on this show, anything else, find this episode on the btwb YouTube channel. Post what you think and feel. We read all those comments. And if you've got future ideas, we read those as well. You can also just go to the Very Not Random Instagram account, post a public comment there. Or if you want to be more discreet or anonymous, you could send a direct message on the Very Not Random Instagram. All of those things make their way back to us. And we appreciate all of you. So for Adrian Bosman, I'm Pat Sherwood, and we will see you next time.